Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is your essential shortcut for navigating professional advancement within the NHS. Today, we are getting into something absolutely critical for every professional and trainee in the emergency department. We're talking about Specialty Learning Outcome 10.
That's right, SLO 10. Participate in research and manage data appropriately. Now, for anyone on the Royal College of Emergency Medicine curriculum, this can feel like, a bit of an academic hurdle. But our mission today is to show you that it's so much more. Excelling in SLO 10 is actually foundational to clinical excellence itself.
The sources are really clear on this. Research isn't some optional extra done by academics in an ivory tower. It's a core function of the modern EM clinician.
Precisely. We want to help you make that crucial leap, the one the curriculum demands. It's about moving from being a passive consumer of evidence, just reading papers, to becoming an active participant. You should be helping to build the very knowledge that guides your practice on every single shift.
And if you want to hit that standard proficiency level, which, let's be honest, is the benchmark you need for progression, it boils down to three core things in your portfolio. That's proficiency in critical appraisal, active, documented participation in research, and of course, rock-solid data management, so GCP and GDPR compliance.
Okay, so let's unpack those three key capabilities, the KCs. This is assessed continuously, right from ACCS all the way through to higher specialist training. So understanding these pillars is basically the blueprint for getting it signed off.
Exactly. And the first one is where most people start. And it directly drives what you do at the bedside. It's appraise, synthesize, communicate, and use research evidence. This isn't just about knowing if a p-value is less than 0.05. It's about taking a paper, tearing it apart, and deciding if its findings apply to the actual patient in front of you at 3 a.m. And then, crucially, communicating that to your team.
That rapid translation of evidence into action is so critical in the ED. The environment is just, it's chaotic. Our margins for error are incredibly slim. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Then the second capability pushes you to actually help create that evidence, actively participate in research. This means you have to roll up your sleeves. Are you helping recruit patients for those huge multi-center trials, the NIHR portfolio studies that are designed to change practice nationally? The expectation is involvement, not just awareness.
And the third pillar, which I think is often the silent killer for compliance, manage data appropriately.
Yes. This is where clinical research slams right into your department's information governance framework.
Yeah.
Patient trust, legal compliance. It all hinges on handling that data ethically and securely.
So for anyone listening who's wondering what tangible evidence they need to show their educational supervisor, what are the absolute must-haves for that standard sign-off?
It really comes down to documented activity. You need evidence of literature searching, some solid critical appraisal, proof of recruitment, and your mandatory certificates, especially your GCP. Those are the bricks you need to build your case.
Okay, let's focus on producing that tangible, high-quality evidence, starting with critical appraisal. I think a lot of people get hung up on the paperwork here, but it's really about the quality of the thinking, isn't it?
It is. The sources are very specific that the Applied Critical Appraisal Form, or ACAF, is the gold standard. A common mistake is just to summarize the paper. A good ACAS is different. You have to build a focused clinical question using PICO, detail your search strategy, and then really rigorously evaluate the study's validity and applicability. You have to challenge the methodology.
Right, so the ACAF is the deep dive, but what about the more social ways of demonstrating this skill?
That's where your journal club feedback form, the JCF, comes in. Presenting a paper at a departmental meeting shows you can synthesize complex ideas and communicate that clinical bottom line to your colleagues. A topic review is also excellent evidence. A short written summary supporting, say, an update to a local guideline on DKA management or sepsis, it shows real mastery.
Now let's move on to active research participation. This is mandatory. How does a busy trainee even begin to maximize their time here?
The first, absolutely non-negotiable step is getting your up-to-date, good clinical practice certificate, your GCP. That training provides the entire ethical and scientific scaffolding for any clinical trial you get involved with. Without it, you simply can't legally participate.
And the practical proof, it can't just be a certificate and a promise, can it?
Exactly. We're looking for recruitment logs, an anonymized record of patients you personally screened or consented for active ED studies. Think about the big TURN studies, for example. And there's a big difference between screening a patient, just checking criteria, and actually getting informed consent. Both are good, but consent shows a much higher level of engagement.
So certificates from TURN or your local research nurse are also great things to upload.
The key is showing that you are practically involved in building the evidence base for emergency medicine.
This all sounds like a lot of compliance, which brings us neatly to data management. In ED, we handle incredibly sensitive information under immense time pressure. It's a thorny issue.
It's critical. This is where clinical governance and research ethics collide. You have to prove you're competent in data security. That starts with your annual NHS Statutory Information Governance Training Certificate. But the curriculum demands more than just a tick box exercise.
Yeah, the reflective points they require are really insightful. They force you to face real-world challenges.
They do. Beyond reflecting on how you anonymize data in an audit or a QIP, which is good practice anyway, the curriculum specifically wants a reflective entry on a difficult ethical encounter. It could be managing a confidentiality near miss or the complexity of consenting a vulnerable patient. It proves you understand the weight of the data you hold.
And we have to know the frameworks that guide us. We can't talk data governance without mentioning the Caldecott principles.
Correct. As an NHS professional, you need a working knowledge of those 7 rules. Think about the principle. Access should be on a strict need-to-know basis. In the ED, that governs who on the research team sees a patient's full history versus who only sees anonymized data. It's fundamental.
And then there's GDPR, understanding the difference between identifiable, pseudonymized, and fully anonymized data.
Precisely. But here's the really critical specialty detail for EM. The unique ethical challenge we face is deferred consent. If you're working on time-critical research, say a trial on a new treatment for cardiac arrest or major trauma, the patient lacks capacity, you might need to enroll them before you can get consent.
That is so vital. Without deferred consent, we just couldn't run some of the most important life-saving trials in our specialty.
Absolutely not. The sources emphasize that you must be familiar with the ethical and legal mechanisms here, the strict time limits, and knowing who ultimately provides consent later on. This is how cutting-edge EM research happens ethically.
This is where it gets really interesting for me. Moving beyond just meeting the standard to achieving excellence. We're talking level 4 or 5 entrustment. This is about stepping up into academic leadership.
That's the distinction, isn't it? Moving from competent to expert requires depth and ownership. It's not just about recruiting patients anymore. It's about helping to manage the study.
So one high-impact strategy that's becoming more and more recognized is the associate PI scheme.
This is an excellent formal pathway. It's a structured, usually 6-month rotation where you register as an associate principal investigator for an NIHR portfolio study. This isn't just a line on your CV. It formally recognizes your contribution to the local delivery and management of that study. From governance checks to overseeing recruitment, it shows you can manage a project.
And of course, the Trainee Emergency Research Network, or TERN, is another major marker of this.
Oh, definitely. Becoming a site lead for a TERN project, where you're coordinating other trainees and liaising with the local PI, that shows tremendous organizational and academic maturity. These are the roles that really elevate your portfolio.
Beyond running the study, there's the crucial step of dissemination. Don't just finish an audit, you have to share what you learned. The curriculum sets out a pretty clear hierarchy for this.
That's your path to gold. You start at bronze, which is presenting your work within your department. You move up to silver if you get a regional or a national poster presentation. And you hit gold with a national or international oral presentation, or the pinnacle, a peer-reviewed publication. That progression shows your work has merit well beyond your local ED.
And one final subtle marker of excellence that I think gets overlooked is just academic polish. When you present your evidence using formal academic writing, citing correctly, using Vancouver-style referencing, it just shows you're ready for that leadership role.
What's great here is that even the most complex bits, like statistics, have toolkits to simplify them. The curriculum actively encourages using mnemonics to make rapid critical appraisal manageable on the shop floor.
So when you sit down to write that ACF, you should immediately be thinking PUQ.
Population, intervention, comparator, and outcome. It's simple, but it ensures your literature search is structured and actually answerable. It stops you from wading through irrelevant papers.
And when you're quickly appraising a trial for Journal Club, or even just over a coffee, you need a quick framework. That's where Rambo comes in.
Rambo is your best friend for a quick quality check. Is the patient group representative? Was allocation random? Was maintenance of follow-up good? Were the measurements objective and blinded? And finally, what are the boundaries, the p-values and confidence intervals? It forces you to look past the headline.
Which brings us to the no panic guide to statistics. We don't need to be biostatisticians, but we do need to interpret results fast. The p-value rule is simple. Less than 0.05 is usually statistically significant.
But the real utility is in interpreting confidence intervals. The CI is the range where the true effect probably lies. If that range crosses the line of no effect, which is 1 for radios or 0 for differences, then the result is not statistically significant. It means the study couldn't rule out that the intervention did nothing, or maybe even caused harm.
And that immediately changes how you think about it. If the CI crosses 1, you shouldn't be overhauling your entire practice based on that one paper.
Exactly. And finally, the number needed to treat, or NNT. It's the real measure of clinical benefit. It's just 1 divided by the absolute risk reduction. A low NNT is good. It means you only need to treat a few people to prevent 1 bad outcome. That's a powerful metric.
And for ongoing learning, people should really leverage the resources the college provides.
Yes, absolutely. Use the RCEM learning modules, the SBA, SAQ, the critical appraisal section, their completion logs automatically. And also look at external resources like Journal Feed, The Bottom Line, and St. Emblems. They are all designed for busy EM clinicians. But crucially, reflect on how you actually use that knowledge.
So what does this all mean for the everyday professional in a busy NHS ED? This deep dive really proves that excelling in SLO 10 is all about robust systems, ethical data handling, and active, meaningful participation in creating the knowledge that directly impacts our patients.
My final thought for you to take away is this. Think about the direct, practical application of all this. Remember the link between SLO 10 and clinical communication, which is covered in SLO 7. The ability to critically appraise a paper and synthesize a clear, unbiased clinical bottom line is the absolute foundation for effective shared decision-making, for earning a patient's trust. Go beyond the certificate. Use this knowledge to empower your clinical communication every day.
And if you're ready to accelerate your academic profile, look into the Associate PI scheme or turn leadership roles in your department. That's how you move from being compliant to achieving true academic excellence. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.